go ahead, Doug.
We can hear you.
Yeah, Coach. It seemed like not for the whole game, but for long stretches of the game, no one was making any kind of runs on offense. Everybody was just kind of standing and waiting and watching. And then you also had the two wing backs, which implied there were going to be a lot of crosses, but Charlotte almost had twice as many crosses as the team. Did they just not execute the tactics, or what happened today on offense?
I mean, many things, though. I think we have to give them credit. They play good. I mean, Charlotte is a good team. They like to play from the back. They like to have good possession. Obviously, we couldn't find those opportunities to run in behind, which was part of our plan. Try to get Marcelino and Thiago in good areas to serve balls for the attackers, and those attackers included Andrew Goodman and Brooks Lennon. But for many different reasons, in the first half especially, we were not able to do that. The first 20, 30 minutes, it looks like we couldn't really find those spaces. So that was a bit the battle. In the second half, I think we did a very good job on that, trying to be on the front foot, better possession, trying to create more crosses. But also for me, we create better chances than them. So maybe the crosses were not there, but we create very good chances. Some of them, I think, we could have scored, and maybe the story of the game could have been different. But happy with some parts of our game. I think once we start to find Thiago and Marcelino in good areas, we are creative and we start to have something in behind. But obviously, yes, that's something we need to improve, making runs in behind and try to stretch the back line.
What were some of the reasons that you couldn't get Thiago and Marcelino couldn't get players in good spaces in the first half?
Yeah, I think they overload the middle. I mean, you saw their shape. They have 4 midfielders, very active and dynamic midfielders, 2 forwards that make it difficult for our center backs to find those gaps. So it's not like it was an easy game. We knew there were challenges. We knew we needed to be more patient, to have more patience in our build-up. So we were able to really unbalance them. And I think the moments we did that, that's where we succeed. But at moments we were very direct. We tried to force balls into tough areas, and they were very good at pressing those half spaces that we want to occupy. So that was the first half. The second half, I think it was a bit different. We improved, and it was probably not good enough at the end.
Coach John Elson, Soccer Down here. You mentioned the attack in the second half, and part of that was bringing in Ronaldo Cisneros. What did you think about his first action with the Man?
Oh, I felt that it was very positive. You look at a little bit of his pace and his willingness to do things in behind, to run in behind. He's clever. He's good at pressing. But obviously, as all the strikers, he needs to produce goals. And that's how we can measure Ronaldo. But it's just early stages for him. He just arrived 4 or 5 days ago. He just integrated into the team. But I think he's doing the right things to integrate properly to the team. So I think he has good skills. You saw a little bit the speed that he has, the power that he has, and those extra yards where he was able to run in behind. And obviously, again, probably that's towards the question. We couldn't really get enough crosses so he can shine a little bit more. But I think it's a very good addition to our team.
Defensively, how do you think the 3 center backs fared?
I think we were not bad defensively. I felt that many of the chances that they created came up of us giving the ball away, and that was maybe how I assess our defenders. It's like maybe we were not composure enough to find the right passes, but defensively, I don't think that they created enough chances from the run of play. Like they really unbalanced us at any moment. We were like not solid in that part of the field. I felt they did a good job. They had in front of them 2 very difficult strikers, Rios and Swiderski, and it's not easy. But I think overall they did well. It's just we obviously need to improve on our passing and our build-up play.
Coach, one of the bright spots I thought today was Thiago. What did you make of his performance, especially the way he was combining with Marcelino?
Yes, I think it was very good. I think Thiago, you can see a little bit of that creativity that he has on the ball. And when he starts to connect with Marcelino, they just move the ball faster on the field. And I think it's a good balance because obviously Marcelino is probably a better dribbler, a guy that can go 1v1 and go at people and turn. But Thiago is more of a connector. So I think it's a very good balance there. And I think they were very good, both of them, offensively and defensively. And maybe we just need a bit more runs in behind to really help them once they break those lines, try to help them out. But I felt they were very good, very solid here.
All right, we'll go to Zoom. Felipe, lead us off on Zoom.
Thank you, Johannes. Gonzalo, I'm curious, obviously a goal down, you're going to be more direct and more aggressive. I felt second half, that's when Atlanta was had a lot more clarity. You guys began to dominate the match in the second half. Just what was your thinking to start the match? It looked like two different teams to start, and obviously your changes helped as well, but like, what were you thinking ahead of the match? And then what did you change at halftime?
Well, I don't know, Felipe, can you, clarify a little bit more? What do you mean by direct?
I thought you guys were a lot more aggressive in the second half, pushing the lines forward.
Okay.
Yeah, the play was direct. Thiago was more involved with Moreno, etc.
Okay.
I didn't think that was the same team in the first half, but obviously you weren't down a goal to start.
Yes, now I understand your question. I'm sorry. It's just, yes, like I think, yes, we were a bit more aggressive. In the first half, we tried the same. It didn't come out. I think we were not good at filtering those passes in between the lines. In the first half, we missed a lot of those passes when Mike Robinson had the ball to his feet and he had maybe a Marcelic or Marcelino in between the lines, and we couldn't find them. Maybe credit to them because they overload well the middle. But in the second half, things start to open up for us and we start to be more creative. Actually, we didn't change many things at the beginning of the second half in terms of tactics. We continued with the same ideas, just trying to improve in certain, living the mentality of trying to be more aggressive. Yes, so I agree with you, but the plan was the same. And obviously, at some point, we had to change to back four, trying to bring another midfielder there, trying to have more numbers in attack. And that's where probably we start to put more pressure as well. But I don't think it was anything particularly different in terms of tactics or ideas comparing the two halves.
You mentioned earlier this week that, regardless of who's on the field, the principles of play will not change. Can you elaborate on what those principles are? Like, what is it that you're trying to establish right now early in the season? And are you seeing that consistently?
Well, we're trying to play out from the back every time. I think you've seen that every game. I think we're trying to break lines in between the lines, trying to be aggressive and our passing in the middle. I think sometimes doesn't happen at times, without Ossie, without Rossetto, at times the dynamic changes a little bit. So we try to create the same now with Santi, with Amar. And I think at some point they did well. At some point they tried to do the same. And then we want to have more chances and better chances than the opposition. I think we accomplished that today. Among so many different things that I can talk now, the high pressure, the immediate pressure, being solid, playing a high line. I think there are many things that we are continuously doing. And regardless of the personnel we put on the field, we are seeing those. Maybe sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not that good, but we are trying to see the same patterns and the same ideas that I just mentioned.
Thank you.
Anything else on Zoom? All right, thank you very much, Coach. We'll have players up next.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we got Brad here. We're going to start here in the room again, and then I'll call on Zoom once we're done here in the room. Doug, go ahead.
Is this one on? Do I need to turn this on?
Huh?
I need to turn this on?
Brad, what happened on the goal?
Yeah, took a whirl, got caught in the wind, I got caught in the front foot and on the top corner.
You weren't like blocked or anything by Charlotte players on.
No, the way we defend corners is zonal. It's not unheard of for teams to put players in and around the goalkeeper. I just got caught in the wind and took off and sailed in the top corner.
I was asking Pineda about the offense, kind of looking down the field when y'all have the ball. You and the center backs get the ball, and you're looking up, and there's not many runs being made by anyone. It's kind of been an issue for a little bit this season. How do y'all fix that? How do you solve that to give yourself the best chance to kind of get the ball going down the field, making them retreat?
Yeah, I think going into this game, we changed formations a bit in terms of understanding how they wanted to press with two strikers. So us going to three in the back, playing with wing backs, they do a very good job of compressing the ball to one side of the field, and then it's our job as a group to then try and play out the other side and attack at pace. And too many times we got caught where our first ball didn't probably break enough lines, and we didn't make them go from one side of the pitch to the other side of the pitch. And so, as always, we'll go back, we'll review the tape as a group and talk about it and see how we can get better for next week.
And the wingbacks had some trouble getting involved in the offense. Is that also a function of just not being able to switch the ball?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think, especially in the first half, we're getting caught on one side and we're not being able to switch the ball to a free Andrew Gutman or on the other side, Brooks Lennon. Or if we are, it's too slow, and it allows them to switch back over and slide across the field, and we never really create an advantage. And then in not creating an advantage, we don't create any issues for them.
How do you think Cisneros looked like he had some speed? He was able to make some runs and threaten Charlotte's back line.
Yeah, I mean, he's just arrived, and so we'll try to get him in a comfortable understanding of what we're asking of our strikers and the players around him and what they like and what he likes. It's still early days, and so I mean that's what you want though in terms of just arriving, somebody that's going to put their body on the line and run and chase down balls and be a bit of a nuisance, and he certainly did that for us today. And I think he's only going to grow the more time he spends with the group.
Were there any positives from today?
Yeah, I mean, listen, sport's a cruel game sometimes, and you look at the amount of chances we created. You look at the second half. Yeah, they maybe had one or two half chances, but I think the second half we were all over them. Some adjustments at halftime, and we were all over them. Just didn't have whether it be the final ball, the final shots. We didn't. We just we struggled to then put the ball in the back of the net, and that's the name of the game.
Brad, you did kind of take my question about the second 45, where it seemed like the Man United was more in control and was asserting what it wanted to do out there against Charlotte. It's just it wasn't that chance getting in the back of the net. Caleb had the chance, like Marcelino had a couple of chances. It just looked like it was getting there, but it just wasn't going in the back of the net in the second 45. Yeah,
no, exactly. Exactly what I just said and what you'd mentioned. It's just sometimes you need a little bit of luck. So it's not the end of the world. Obviously it's frustrating, of course. But the whole thing wasn't, chuck it out the window and move on. There's certainly positives that we can take. And like I said, we'll review the tape as a group and see where we were good and where obviously we can get better.
The question having to do with goalkeeping specifically and wind. For those who have never been in your shoes, what is it like out there on a match day trying to gauge how things are in the environment where things may swirl because it looked like the wind was swirling out there at times? What's it like having to battle not just 11 guys who want to put the ball past you, but Mother Nature as well? What's that like?
I mean, listen, it's part of the game. It is what it is. You can't alter the weather. I certainly think it probably had an impact on the field itself. The pitch was sticky and dry, and doesn't allow to have a little bit of that extra zip on the ball. Obviously, wind that again. You look at the second half. Yes, we were good, but I think them defending going into the wind as well certainly didn't help them in terms of their clearances, in terms of their ability to relieve pressure and just play, balls down the channel as they did in the first half. I think at times they struggled to get out of their half in the second half, and it's probably a combination of us being a little bit more on the front foot, but also the conditions as well.
We're going to go to Zoom now. Only got time for a couple. Felipe.
Thank you. Brad, you're right. Like Atlanta completely dominated the second half. I'm wondering if you think that this team can play that way from minute one, taking the risk that you guys took when you're chasing the game, being a little bit more direct, more aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's the word I would use is balance. You try to find the right balance between being proactive, being on the front foot, taking some chances when appropriate. But if the game's 0-0 in the first half, from the first minute, right, you don't want to go crazy and let it turn from an uneven balance to chaotic, and you don't want to give anything away, I guess, if you will. And so, yes, you want to be, again, proactive. You want to be on the front foot, but you need to be able to find the right balance in terms of attacking with numbers, and having a foothold in the game, and then being able to defend and transition to defending.
And then just my last one, you've been here since 17, you've played under every single coach. Each coach is very different.
Yeah.
Gonzalo's mentioning to us principles of play have to be consistent no matter who's on the field. Can you elaborate on what you're seeing? Like, what is it that this team is trying to be? It's early. There are injuries, I get it, but what does this team want to be in the end? When you're humming, what is Atlanta United right now?
Listen, when we're humming and we're good and we're in a good moment and we're playing our best football, we're an attack-minded team. Where you look at the players that we have on the field, we want to attack. We want to be on the front foot, create chances, score goals. And I think, probably back to your first question, again, finding that balance of, yes, we changed systems today, but still understanding that we want to be going forward and we want to be able to keep the ball in the attacking third and wave after wave after wave. And yes, I understand that the opposition is entitled to have the ball and they're entitled to attack as well. Excuse me. But, we want to be a team that is going forward and exciting. And so I think, those principles, those don't change with personnel on the field. I think we need to be able to have a better foothold in games from the off and be able to, again, find that balance.
And then finally, Johannes, one last one, if you don't mind. For fans that don't get into the weeds of the tactics and the principles and the philosophy, how do you address their frustrations with the way the team is playing or the results of late?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's, again, this is sport. This is the game of football. This is the opposition, whoever we play, they're entitled to have the ball. They're entitled to create chances. They're entitled to attack. It wasn't a lack of chances, I would say, today. We were, especially in the second half, we were good. And sometimes you need that little bit extra that almost wheels the ball into the back of the net. And so what I would say to them is, yeah, I know it's frustrating. It's frustrating, of course, for our group inside of our locker room. We want to be scoring 10 goals a game just as much as the fans do. And, if it was that easy, of course, we'd be doing it week in and week out. But, we need to stick to it. And, we know we need them behind us. And, we have the quality. We know that if we continue to work hard and push the group in the right way, our luck will certainly change. And I think we'll start to create our own luck. And, we'll be able to get this thing going and hopefully get some momentum behind us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, guys.
We got Brooks here. We'll again start in the room and then we'll go to Zoom in a little bit. Doug, go ahead.
Yeah, Brooks, what was making it difficult for you and Andrew in the first half to kind of get forward and get involved in the offense?
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job in terms of when the ball got out wide to me or Andrew, they were able to compress that space and not let us get out as easily as we did in the second half. And they were pretty good at shifting over, crowding one side, and not letting us play forward and create attacking plays. And we were able to get by that in the second half and create chances. But yeah, just very frustrating in the first half, not being able to really go forward as much as we would like to.
Pineda said that they were also able to kind of compress the central midfield too. How were they able to do both the midfield and the flanks?
Yeah, I thought they just matched up well. They had good tactics today, especially in the first half. We changed our formation in the second half, and I thought that gave me and Andrew a little bit more space to move into attacking wise. But yeah, just kind of a frustrating game overall. I thought we outplayed them in the second half. We created chances. We had opportunities to score. I think this is a game that you look back on and think that it could have been a draw. But it wasn't, and we gotta move on to Saturday.
The first half, particularly, not so much in the second half, it looked like y'all were kind of static when you had the ball. No one was making runs. No one, either hard runs to the ball or away from the ball. Was that part of the tactics? Was that again something Charlotte was taking from y'all, or was it just y'all being on the road and trying to control the game? Why was that?
Yeah, I mean, when you're on the road, you want to dictate the tempo and have a lot of the ball and connect your passes, get the team moving side to side. But that is something that we didn't do today that we need to improve on is getting runners in behind, into those premises zones, that Gonzalo talks about, so that we can create, better goal scoring opportunities. And we had a lot of, players coming to the ball today, but not a lot of, players running in behind. And that's something that we all need to work on, collectively.
Pineda, I'll talk about this, and if you don't, I understand. The difficulty, particularly the past 2 weeks, with opponents fouling y'all, breaking up attacks, breaking up the rhythm. How difficult is that mentally for y'all when you're getting fouled 2-1 in games?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely frustrating that we get fouled a lot. We have a lot of creative players on our team, that like to get in behind guys and might be able to skip by one or two guys and then get dragged down. It is frustrating at times though, because it kind of slows down the tempo of the game, and we like to play at a high tempo, moving the ball quickly, 1-2 touch side to side, getting the opponent running, and that's something that we really didn't do it as well today. I thought we held on to the ball a little bit too long at times, and maybe that plays into getting fouled because you're holding on to the ball a little bit too long. Whereas 1 and 2 touch passing might be a better solution to move the team side to side.
Brooks, you mentioned Charlotte's tactics. Did they just seem more confident than the last time you guys played them? That they've gotten a couple wins under their ball. Did you feel like they had a good attack this time around? Definitely,
yeah. I thought they felt a lot more comfortable at home. They had an incredible crowd behind them today. And all credit to Charlotte and their fans for showing up. But yeah, I do think that they've become a better team, as the games have gone on, gained some confidence. And, this is a game that we need to learn from, because I do think that we could have came here and gotten a result because of the players on our roster and the amount of quality that we have. There's not a road, or there's not a team in MLS really that we should, back down to. And we're all disappointed in the result today, but we got to move on and move forward to Saturday at home and, get a result in front of our home fans.
And given the injuries the team went through this week, you feel like your role has changed in here? You're trying to be more of that vocal for that leadership presence in the locker room?
Definitely, yeah. You see a lot of guys go down this week, unfortunately, and that's the world of professional sports. It's kind of that next man up mentality. Since I've came to Atlanta United, I've kind of prided myself in being one of the leaders in the locker room, and now's my opportunity to step up and be a vocal leader, and maybe help a guy that's filling in a role. Gain confidence and know that he's on Atlanta United for a reason.
We'll go to Zoom. Felipe, you got anything? We got time for a couple here.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Brooks, you mentioned it yourself. I think the second half was a lot better. Clearly, you guys are chasing the game, so that kind of changes the dynamic of a match. But how do you guys feel more comfortable? Starting perhaps looking to read the game, or being more direct, being more aggressive, taking more risks? It seems like Brad mentioned you guys want to find that balance. How close do you feel like this team is to finding that balance?
Yeah, I think we're a team that likes to dictate the tempo, dictate the game. We like to be the team that is showing how the game's going to go. We don't like to be reactive, and that's something Gonzalo has really told us, is that we don't want to come to these away stadiums and react to what they're doing or whatever their tactics may be. We need to focus on us and what we're good at, and that's attacking minded football. Playing forward, getting into dangerous areas, crossing, putting dangerous balls in the box, because we have so many quality players in that final third that can score goals at any moment. And so we want to dictate the tempo, and yes, like Brad said, we need to find a fine balance in that. But in my opinion, I think we need to be the guys on the front foot.
And then playing quicker has been something that every team can probably do better. But today seemed like that was something that was missing. When there was quick 1-2 passing, you guys were a little bit tighter in midfield. You really broke Charlotte down. Is that something that Gonzalo is preaching when he talks about principles of play? Does he want to be faster, or is it more about possession?
No, definitely. Yeah, he harps on moving the ball quickly, because that's how you're realistically going to break a team down, no matter how good defensively they are. If you stand on the ball and don't move it quickly, then it's easy for the opponents to defend that. So the actions that we had in today's game where it was 1- and 2-touch passing, and we were combining with each other, it actually looked like good football, and that's what we need to stick to, instead of putting our foot on the ball, waiting, taking our time, and that gives the opponent an opportunity to set up and be able to defend us.
Thank you, Brooks.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brooks.